On the news, Supreme Court affirms Ademola Adeleke as Osun State Governor. Lautech doctors withdraw services over poor working conditions. And federal government approves Transcorp Power as preferred bidder for Abuja Disco. Hello and welcome to News Now on TV 360 Nigeria. I am Simisola Achigun. The Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Ademola Adeleke as the governor of Osun State. The Apex Court, in its judgment read by Justice Emmanuel Agim, also upheld the Appeal Court's judgment, which confirmed the election of Adeleke as the state governor. The Apex Court held that the appellant failed to adduce enough evidence to prove his allegation of overvoting in the July 16, 2022 governorship poll. The judgment was affirmed and adopted by the entire 5 members of the panel. According to all the members of the panel, the appeal lacked merit. Meanwhile, Governor Ademola Adeleke has dedicated his victory at the Supreme Court to God and the people. Doctors at the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology Teaching Hospital Ogbomoso, Oyo State, have begun an industrial action over poor conditions of service. Making the announcement in a statement, chairman of the hospital's chapter of the Medical and Dental Association of Nigeria, Ayobami Alabi, listed the poor conditions of service to include lack of basic facilities like office for consultants and non-response from the management in spite of years of appeal. Alabi said there was no definite assurance that issues in contention would soon be resolved, adding that the association had made efforts in the past to safeguard the hospital from total collapse and reposition it for better training, research and services for which it was established. The association described as unacceptable the continued non-payment of salaries of its members recently employed and decried the delay and difficulty in payment of 2016 to 2017 salary arrears by the management. The National Assembly has begun the induction ceremony for senators and members-elect of the 10th Assembly. The induction ceremony is intended to educate lawmakers-elect on the legislative business, according to the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. This is extremely important as more than 70% of federal lawmakers coming into the 10th Assembly are first-time lawmakers. Some of the lawmakers at the commencement of induction said lawmakers should be at liberty to choose who they want as their preferred leader instead of imposition.
Only grow institutions such as the legislature if you allow them to have their independence and elect their leaders based on their own assessment of who they want to have as their presiding officer.
There is clear and the express provision of the Constitution which allowed the members of the National Assembly to choose the presiding officer, Senate President and Deputy Senate President, Speaker and Deputy Speaker among themselves, irrespective of party.
Everyone who is a member-elect has a right, or rather a returning member-elect has a right to contend, to contest. And if they're not happy, I want to believe that there will still be, talks with regards to where the party is still going to call members and say to them, this is our reasoning.
I believe that justice will be done in terms of balancing the political equation in the country to ensure peace and a very peaceful tenure for the incoming president.
Every house has got its order, and every association or organizations has got its bylaws and forms and agreed forms of mediation, negotiations, lobbying. What we would have envisaged is an opportunity where policy statements are made such that the party will sign to the pact and agree to the pact which it preaches for women inclusion.
Definitely, it's a democratic system. And in a democratic system, you'll find out that people lobby for votes. It doesn't end with your party saying, this is the direction we are going, that is your party. You have to reach out to the minority groups. And these minority groups are made up of individuals with various political sentiments and philosophies.
The Senate has confirmed the nomination of Abdul Hakim Mobolaji for appointment as chairman of the governing board of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC), representing Southwest. The confirmation of the nominees followed the consideration of the screening report by the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions. The report was presented by Senator Suleiman Sadiq from Kwara North.
The Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, having screened the nominees and been satisfied with their experiences, their performance and qualification, hereby comments that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Dr. Honorable Abdul Hakim Mobolaji, Professor Osita Ubu, Umar Gambo Jibri, Muhammad Atairu, Haruna, Yasmin Zabad Dalhatu, Simon Ogi and Abebula Onashori as chairman and members of the governing board of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation.
Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Honorable Dr. Abdul Hakim Mobolaji, representing Southwest, as chairman of the governing board of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC)? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Hakim Mobolaji, representing Southwest, is hereby confirmed as chairman of the governing board of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC). Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Osita Ogbu, representing Southeast, as member of the governing board of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC)? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Professor Osita Ogbu, representing Southeast, is hereby confirmed as member of the governing board of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC). Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Umar Gambo Jibrin, representing North Central, as member of the governing board of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC)? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Umar Gambo Jibrin, representing North Central, is hereby confirmed as member of the governing board of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC).
The Journalists for Democratic Rights and the Ford Foundation have called on media personnel to promote social inclusion in education for students and people living with disabilities across various communities in Lagos State. They made the call on Tuesday during a one-day training on disability reporting for selected journalists in Lagos, tagged Community Support Center and Awareness Creation for Children with Special Needs in Lagos. The Executive Director of Journalists for Democratic Rights, Adewale Adeoye, urged the media to use their platforms for the benefit of all. He added that all media organizations must portray persons with disabilities in a manner consistent with the purpose of the present convention.
I think one of the strategic ways we can intervene is to have constructive engagement with the media industry, the print, the social media, the electronic media, so that we can work collectively to bring issue of disability into the front burner of national discourse. For instance, if you look at the last election, when you go to the polling units, preferences are not given to people that are physically challenged. Even when you are traveling from Lagos to Abuja in our airports, when they are asking people to come and board the plane, preferences are not given to people with disabilities. And we think this is not right. The state and local government budgets, nobody talks about people living with disabilities. So I think it is high time that we work together to ensure that the government also live up to its own responsibilities and also meeting up with international conventions and several conventions, regional and international conventions that Nigerian government is committed to.
Lagos State government is doing its best to ensure that they promote disability law. But what we are seeing is charity-based approach in doing that. In doing it charity-based, it means that the states do it by reason of compassion, not by law. So we are asking that the state government should take appropriate measure to ensure the full implementation of Lagos State Special Post Law to, in order for people with disability to benefit maximally. It's a state law.
I feel now, at least, people are going to know that there's actually disability. There's actually ability in disability, and people will know more about visually impaired people, that they are nothing to be afraid of. Like most people intend to be scared, get scared of us when they see us. So they'll have more idea about us after this program.
The Lagos State University LASU Ojo is setting a new trend for other public universities to follow with its latest reform, the launch of scooters as an alternative means of transportation for students. Courtesy of a partnership with Trek Scooters, the university management launched the scooters as students of LASU now have the option of using electric scooters as their means of mobility on campus. Our correspondent, Americano, now reports.
The life of an average university student in Nigeria is one that involves long treks to attend lectures at whatever destination the lecturer fixes classes. There could also be alternative means of transportation for easy conveyance and early arrival to lectures, but unlike other campuses that solely use fuel-powered buses and tricycles to shuttle students within the university, the management of Lagos State University has launched the e-scooters to provide students with a cheap and eco-friendly means of transportation. As the first state university in Nigeria to launch the new technological trend of transportation, the management of LASU say the initiative would further boost the university's place as the best university in West Africa on the Green Metrics ranking.
With the introduction of the e-scooter here, the level of carbon emission is going to be reduced drastically. Even though we have our shuttle buses within the campus, but now that the e-scooter has been launched and introduced on campus, so many of our students are now using it. Many of them have abandoned the use of the shuttle buses now. So they now ride on the scooters.
The whole world is looking on how to go green. If you look at the Lagos State government team's agenda, transport is the first on the agenda. And right now, the Lagos State government has brought in buses through the BRT scheme, green buses. When we green, they use electric. So we're trying to de-emphasize fossil fuel usage by focusing on energy that will not degrade the environment.
Electric scooters are relatively new to many people in Nigeria, but unlike bicycles, the machine does not need excessive movement or pedaling and is also a money-making venture.
Student ambassadors are brought in to also help drive this, and also helps to improve their entrepreneurial skills, because they also what we have realized over time is that when projects like this come and it is solely driven from outside and there's no buy-in of the students, it may not work. So we have the students who come in, they are also partners, so to speak, in the driving, and they learn entrepreneurship from them.
This scooter is the brainchild of Trek Scooters, an international e-sharing scooter platform, and according to the operations manager at LASU, the scooters are user-friendly and accessible.
Students can easily download it on Google Play Store, and for those students that are using iPhone, they can download it on Apple Store. So the name of the app is Trek. So after downloading, then they will just have to link their email to the app. So they open it with their email. Then after that, they will fund their wallet using their ATM card, and they can also do transfer. If you have your smartphone and you have the app, you can locate where the scooters are placed, like the parking centers. Then with your app, you can locate them. Then you can go there for a ride. On Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, we see students coming in like, I want to ride. Like, I don't even have time to rest. Like every day they will come for this particular ride. Yeah.
Students who are excited about the initiative say the journey to the lecture hall has been made easier.
It's actually very cheap. For 20 naira per 10 minutes. Yes, we can drive for anywhere, like to anywhere in that 10 minutes range. And today, in overall, I've spent almost 4,000 out of my own balance just for this. Because honestly, when you get into it, it just takes you away. Honestly, I really like this improvement in the school. I won't lie to you.
It's quite slow. I think the slowness is for the safety. Yeah, it's just a little bit slow, but is very nice. Safety measures, that's why we have the helmet. Yeah, so the helmet helps us, maybe if you fall down, protect your head and other things, yeah.
50 scooters were launched in Lasso by Trek, the scooter sharing platform. But the school management agrees that this figure is not enough to cater to all students and looks to increase the number of scooters to 500. Mary Kanu, TV360, Lagos.
We'll take a break here, but still to come. Number of internally displaced persons rises to more than 700,000 in Sudan crisis. Stay with us for details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Let's take a quick recap of our top stories. The Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Ademola Adeleke as the governor of Osun State. The Apex Court, in its judgment, read by Justice Emmanuel Agim, also upheld the Appeal Court's judgment, which confirmed the election of Adeleke as the state governor. The Apex Court held that the appellant failed to adduce enough evidence to prove his allegation of overvoting in the July 16, 2022 governorship poll. Meanwhile, Governor Ademola Adeleke has dedicated his victory at the Supreme Court to God and the people of the state. We also told you that doctors at the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology Teaching Hospital of Ogbomoso, Oyo State, have begun an industrial action over poor conditions of service. Making the announcement in a statement, Chairman of the hospital's chapter of the Medical and Dental Association of Nigeria, Ayobami Alabi, listed the poor conditions of service to include a lack of basic facilities like offices for consultants and non-response from management in spite of years of appeal. In case you missed any of our news bulletins, or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. A Los Angeles County Public Health Department has issued an alert stating that people infected with the XBB.1.16 strain Arcturus could be more likely to experience conjunctivitis as a symptom of their COVID infection. The report further warns that the strain is likely more communicable than other recent variants, and people should take the same sensible COVID precautions to help avoid infection. According to infectious diseases experts, the variant should not prompt concerns about a return to earlier stages of the pandemic. We'll take another short break and return with business, international, and sports stories.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so... Oh, yes.
This is just the token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came up with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. On standby is Folashade Ogorinde with business news. Over to you now, Folashade.
Well, many thanks, Simisola. In business, the federal government, through the National Council on Privatization, has approved Transcorp Group as the preferred bidder for acquisition of Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. The Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, revealed this on Tuesday during the inauguration of the 240 megawatts FM3 fast power plant owned by Transcorp by Onyibo, Rivers State. He added that the development is a significant breakthrough in the country's power sector. The representatives has commenced investigation into the availability and usage of mobile telecommunications activities throughout the country. Speaking during a public hearing on telecoms services in Abuja on Monday, the Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Umar Danbatta, says Nigeria needs $1 billion to bridge the shortfall in telecom services in the country. He added that a study by the Commission to identify a cluster of telecom services in the country observed that 37 million Nigerians could not have access in rural served and unserved areas in the country.
Additional things we have done to be able to bridge these gaps and given an analysis of the amount of money that will be required to completely bridge the 97 clusters of access gaps in the country, arising from the deterioration of the exchange rate of the naira to the dollar. We have a figure of close to 700 billion naira is the total amount required to completely bridge.
Universal Service Provision Fund, USPF, which was created for this purpose, and total accruals into the utilization of the USPF by the NCC since inception of the fund. The Nigerian Communications Commission, as the independent regulatory authority to the telecommunications industry, needs to live up to its expectation and create an enabling environment, as well as ensure the provision of qualitative and efficient telecommunications service delivery throughout Nigeria, and not some specific areas as what we experience today.
One of the major drivers of poverty eradication or alleviation is communication access, telecommunication access, internet access to the populace. And Nigeria, as the largest democracy in Africa and as the third largest in the world, cannot be seen to be lagging behind in terms of being able to leverage on the opportunities available in this industry for the advancement of the welfare of its people.
We'll take a breather now and be back with a review of the stock market. Just stay with us. The second day of trade on the NGX finished on a positive sentiment as the all-share index inched up to close at 52,606.51, leaving market cap at the 28 trillion naira mark. Now, in the aggregate, 118 NGX-listed equities participated in trading, ending with 32 gainers and 20 losers. Now, Cornell led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 48 naira 40 kobo per share, followed by Multiverse, Mining and Exploration. Now, on the losing side, we see the Unity Bank came out last with an end-of-day price appreciation of 9.26% at 49 kobo per share, followed by JPOL Gold and Ventures. Now, the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a total of 640 million units of shares valued at over 7 billion naira exchange hands in 5,684 deals. Now, let's switch to some of our select global stocks. That's the Dow Jones, the FTSE and the Nikkei. Now, save for Nikkei, Dow Jones and FTSE finished in the reds at 0.18% and 0.11% respectively. UK's main stock indexes fell on Tuesday as investors were wary ahead of US inflation data that could influence the Federal Reserve's interest rate policy. And that's it on business news and stock market review. Back to you, Simi, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Falashari, for that update. And in international, the number of people displaced inside Sudan by fighting between rival military factions has more than doubled in the past week to around 700,000. The increase in displacement has raised fears of an escalation in violence despite ceasefire talks being held in Saudi Arabia. Airstrikes and ground battles are continuing in the capital, Khartoum, while entire neighborhoods have become empty as residents flee their homes. Khartoum had a population of 5.4 million, but the once peaceful city has been devastated by the conflict that broke out on April the 15th. Well, it's now time for Entertainment Report on News Now.
Jude Agbaga, ex-Nigerian rapper popularly known as MI, Mr. Incredible, along with his wife Eniola Mafe, have shared their experience dealing with a medical condition. They revealed that they have been battling attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, a commonly diagnosed neurodevelopmental disorder in childhood that can persist into adulthood. Symptoms of ADHD include difficulty paying attention, impulsive behavior, and hyperactivity. Speaking in an interview, the couple discussed how they manage their condition by prioritizing effective communication and understanding, while also accepting that the disorder is part of them automatically. Nigerian music artist Ahmed Ololade, best known as Asake, has been named Best African Artist of the Year at the 2023 Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. Mr. Money won the Best African Artist Award as he piped Burna Boy, Chris Daniel, and Ariel Star to the award. Nigerian hitmaker Meyokun also won the award for Best Collaboration for his part in Kamido's Sugarcane Remix, while hip-hop star Black Sharif won the award for Best Artist and Most Popular Song for his March hit Kwaku the Hustler. That's it in the entertainment segment of News Now. Tamilore Akinkolie, TV 360 Nigeria.
And in sports, Middlesbrough striker Chuba Akpom has been officially declared the Golden Boot winner of the 2022-23 Sky Bet Championship season. This was announced on the championship's official Twitter handle. The 27-year-old and former Arsenal player has scored 28 goals and provided 2 assists in 36 matches so far this season. Well, that's our bulletin this evening. Many thanks for watching. I am Simisola Atiku.